Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The new building of Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah is opened. Education Council confirms that restructuring educational systems of all stages will be main topic of the National Education Seminar. And Ukrainian president agrees with Putin on steps towards a ceasefire regime in Kiev's conflict with separatists as Obama reassures Baltic states of their security. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in details. A ceremony was held for the opening of new building of Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah this morning. More details in the following report read by Huda bint Nasser al-Jahwariya.
The new building of Armed Forces Hospital was opened in Salalah this morning under the auspices of His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed al-Nu'mani, Minister of Royal Office. It's the newest development project of medical services of Sultan's Armed Forces to carry out its all services in providing healthcare for all affiliates of the Ministry of Defense and Sultan's Armed Forces. The hospital contained all medical specialties with 120 beds, 16 sections divided over outpatient clinics, accident and emergency section, wards and other internal sections such as X-ray, central sterilization, pharmacy, medical lab, administration building, in addition to outer buildings, medical equipment, workshop and engineering services. Brigadier Salim bin Nasser al-Salmi, head of medical services at the Armed Forces, said the hospital adds another social dimension to the area, and it's a referral hospital for the Armed Forces and to all residents of the area, in cooperation with hospitals of the Ministry of Health. Medical Services of Armed Forces is carrying out noble roles to upgrade medical services provided to affiliates of Sultan's Armed Forces by highly qualified cadres providing the noble services.
Education Council announced holding of National Education Seminar in the Sultanate under the theme Road to the Future in the upcoming October. That came during a meeting of the Council today in which it viewed themes and issues related to seminar. The Council confirmed that it finalized a host of projects that will be reviewed during the seminar toppered by Education Philosophy document in the Sultanate, study of restructuring educational systems of all stages and projects of quality, scholastic and higher education. The meeting was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Rawiya bint Saud al-Busaidiya, Minister of Higher Education and Vice Chairperson of the Council. With the start of new scholastic year, Royal Oman Police seeks in cooperation with the Ministry of Education to ensure the safety of students during their movement from and to their schools and spread awareness on traffic safety. It also works tirelessly to intensify their patrols around schools to avoid traffic accidents. It also distributed some booklets and brochures that include traffic advices and instructions and delivers lectures on traffic rules. Traffic Safety Institutes accord great attention to spread awareness on the safety of school students. It organizes visits for school students to the traffic school during the scholastic year. The Institute also sends a traffic convoy to schools to spread awareness on traffic safety among students. Supervising Committee of Competition Initiators held a press conference at City Seasons Hotel during which it revealed details, rules and standards of officiating initiatives entering the competition besides mechanism and stages of their implementation and prices allocated for it. Club Youth Initiatives prize considered one of initiatives put up by the Ministry of Sports Affairs to support youth and to contribute in developing their capabilities, ideas and their social initiatives. Local-made products were displayed in an exhibition titled Afkari, or My Ideas, held in Grand Mall, Muscat. Some 18 small and medium enterprises take place in the event, which will last till 12th of this month. These enterprises were supported by a Raft Fund. The products include abayas, accessories, perfumes and sweets. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. Hydrometric control stations capable of monitoring changes taking place in ground and surface waters are disputed in the Sultanate.
من هنا تبدأ أسطر الحكاية. تقاليدها راسخة كالجبال. أصالتها مضرب مثل في كل مكان. بساطتها ليس لها مثيل. لا حدود لكرمها. حاضرها مشرق متجدد. مهرجان الصلالة السياحي 2014 من 30 من يوليو إلى 6 من سبتمبر.
Welcome back. Ukraine said today its president had agreed with Russia's President Vladimir Putin on steps towards a ceasefire regime in Kiev's conflict with pro-Russian rebels, but the Kremlin denied any actual truce deal, sowing confusion on the eve of a NATO summit. Russia's Putin says Ukrainian forces must halt military operation in eastern Ukraine and international monitors should be on the ground. Putin says prisoners exchange, humanitarian corridor for refugees and aid supplies among steps towards resolution of Ukraine conflict. U.S. President Barack Obama said today a ceasefire in Ukraine could be effective only if Moscow stopped pretending it was not controlling pro-Russian separatists and ceased sending troops and weapons into the country. Obama was speaking in Estonia for talks on the Ukrainian crisis with Baltic leaders. An attack on convoy killed 11 members of the Egyptian security forces in the Sinai Peninsula. 2 were killed by a roadside bomb and the 2 were shot as they tried to flee. Security sources said earlier that the attack killed 10 soldiers. The attack initially targeted security forces in Sinai, a remote but strategic part of Egypt located between Israel, the Gaza Strip and the Suez Canal, but they have since extended their reach with bombings on the mainland. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to cancel the decision of confiscating around 4,000 acres of lands in the West Bank. That came during a telephone call and also discussed resumption of talks next month in line with the ceasefire in Gaza Strip. It is due to that Kerry will meet in Washington today a Palestinian delegation to discuss these issues. Palestinian sources monitored that their delegation will present to the U.S. Secretary of State a plan put up by Palestinian leadership to end Israel occupation and to step up Palestinian state within 3 years. The White House said today that U.S. President Barack Obama has authorized sending 350 more military personnel to Iraq to protect U.S. facilities and personnel in Baghdad. Approximately 820 troops have now been assigned to augment diplomatic security in Iraq. The moves came at the recommendation of the Defense Department, but the additional personnel will not be serving in a combat role. Meanwhile, American military officials said that an airstrike against Daesh groups resulted in the destruction of 16 military vehicles near Mosul Dam and that 4 members of the Daesh group were killed. 3 others were wounded at a car explosion they were trying to explode in northern Iraq. Back here in the Sultanate, hydrometric control stations were distributed in various governorates of the Sultanate. This network is responsible for monitoring changes that may take place in ground and surface waters in quality or quantity. In the governorate of Dhofar, this network consists of around 800 control points that include rains, wadis, water springs, wells, dams and lagoons. They were distributed in various parts of the governorate whether in nudged plains or mountains. They collect hydrological data on which various studies will rely. The collected information are also used in the evaluation of water's resources and avoiding flood risks. After competitions that started at the beginning of summer leave, the Ministry of Sports Affairs concluded clubs' chanting competition, which attracted more than 100 participants. More details in the following report by Sultan bin Saif As-Sarai.
The Ministry of Sports Affairs organized conclusion ceremony for the club's Inshad or chanting competition under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Khalid bin Umar al-Marhoon, the Minister of Civil Service. This competition continued for 3 months across all sport clubs in the Sultanate. 21 participants qualified for the final stage out of 75, and out of 25 teams, 6 were qualified. The competition aimed to show up Omani youth skills and talents at chanting art, and it witnessed high competition between all participants.
Can't explain my feelings right now. I'm overwhelmed with getting the first place winner. I haven't expected this at all. I thought that I'll just be one of the best 10. This is my biggest expectation, but to get the first one was a huge surprise. I'm so happy.
The conclusion of this competition came within the 4th version of Shababi or Youth program of this year, and it contained various cultural and entertainment activities, which aims to link Omani youth with their heritage.
I think we reach our goals through organizing these events because we could attract many new Inshad talents from the Omani society. We saw and listened to many new Inshad talents, and I advise them to participate and practice in this field.
This program was started at the beginning of the summer leave, where it covered various cultural, social, science and artistic aspects, as well as other activities at sports complexes in all governorate. At the end of the ceremony, the chief guest presented prizes for the winners and adjudicating committee. Inshad is one of the best arts which reflects some social, cultural and religious aspects, and this competition here has embodied the Ministry of Sports Affairs rule at enhancing different Omani youth skills in this art. Sultan bin Saif As-Sarai, Muscat.
And now for the general weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the governorate of Dhofar and nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear to partly cloudy skies with chances of scattered rain over parts of the Hajar Mountains. Winds will be southerly to southwesterly, moderate to active along the southeastern coast, while it will be southeasterly light to moderate over the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coastal areas of Arabian Sea will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 3 meters, and along the rest of the coast it will be slight to moderate with maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The new building of Armed Forces Hospital in Salalah is opened. Education Council confirms that the restructuring educational systems of all stages will be the main topic of the National Education Seminar. And Ukrainian president agrees with Putin on steps towards a ceasefire regime in Kiev's conflict with separatists as Obama reassures Baltic states of their security. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.